we have a ruling on that already. So what appears to be and what is are two different things, and you're entitled to your opinion, but you're not entitled to your own set of facts. So I'll call on the city attorney to tell us what the legal position is of the Attorney General's office.
Yes, I have reviewed this issue. I did not bring the memo with me tonight, but the mayor, because he is one of 7 votes, he can vote in this for this resolution appointing the assistant city court judge. The only issue would be is if the judge felt that whoever the judge was that was appointed felt that they could not be fair and impartial to the mayor because he is the mayor, then they would have to recuse themselves. But the mayor can vote in this for these resolutions.
And that was an opinion of who?
I don't have it in front of me.
From who? That was from the Attorney General's office?
Yes, it was the Attorney General's office.
Okay, so that's the fact. So when everybody can have their opinion, you may think it might be an appearance of a conflict of interest, but the fact is that it's not. And that goes for the usual suspects out there that may feel that way. It is, you are entitled to your opinion, you are not entitled to your set of facts. So I will vote on this. We'll call for a roll call vote, please, unless anybody else wants to say anything.
I'd just like to say something in response to a couple of the comments that I heard here tonight, which I have wholeheartedly agreed with, and I think I said that at the onset of these interviews. And for that reason, this is why you have 2 different resolutions here on this subject, because this council is obviously not in agreement and wasn't during this entire process. It's become more than obvious to the public here, and they'll see how this plays out. But any of these candidates, if you were able to see the over 20 resumes of lawyers and judges, by the way, that applied for this position, and the 2 candidates set here before us after deliberations by this council for many months, to me is just doing the public a disservice, as well as you as citizens here in the city of Peekskill. So, and for that reason, you'll see how I vote, but that's my opinion on the matter.
I just want to clarify that the judge in question was a friend of the mayor's and not from Peekskill, wasn't he?
What judge?
Wasn't it the judge was a friend of yours?
What judge?
I don't remember his name. But he wasn't from Peekskill. That's.
I practiced before him for 30 years. I would hope that I know him, and I hope that he's a friend. But he's not on the resolution tonight.
No, he is not.
In other words, a sitting city court or town judge for 20 some odd years is not qualified to sit in the city of Peekskill. I think that's what they're saying, because he doesn't live here.
I didn't say that.
Because he doesn't live here.
I didn't say that, Benny.
And he's a friend of the mayor's. We'll go ahead.
All right, nice.
All right, well, since everybody's making their statements now, I'll make mine. Tonight, we will make an appointment that will affect the citizens of Peekskill for many years to come. The appointment of an assistant city court judge will run for a 6-year period and will affect every person having business in the Peekskill City Court. While politics has its place in our system, it should be absent and take a holiday when it comes to judicial appointments. Judicial appointments, I feel, are almost sacred. With that said, this council was presented with about 20 resumes from highly qualified candidates, some of whom were more appropriate for Peekskill than others. We engaged in an interview process, and the final selection of the final 2 will be presented tonight by resolution. The unnecessary politicization of this process began months ago. The final outcome was preordained, and I said so in a published newspaper article, and the vote tonight will confirm that prediction. I am deeply distressed by the majority's vote for patently obvious reasons. When I called for a public interview of the candidates, the majority refused, letting secrecy trump transparency. When the interview process took place, the questioning of candidates was somewhat shocking, and then I knew why the majority insisted upon secrecy. In the end, we will vote on 2 candidates tonight, and the differences could not be more shocking, thereby making the final vote and appointment, in my opinion, all the more abhorrent as a disgusting display of party politics. When we had an opportunity to be historic and appoint a Hispanic judge, Lizette Fernandez, considering 46% of the registered voters in Peekskill are Hispanic, they'll say no. When faced with a candidate, Fernandez, who presented a complete employment history, which included work for a sitting, high-ranking judge in New Jersey, writing her opinions assisting in court trials, the majority opted for a career legal aid attorney with no civil experience and an incomplete resume. When faced with a candidate, Fernandez, who was ready to immediately sign an authorization for the release of her employment records in order that we could verify her employment on the information on her resume, the other candidate, who admitted relevant work experience, refused to sign an authorization for the release. The majority chose that other candidate, Melissa Lear. When faced with a candidate, Fernandez, who answered every question immediately and forthrightly, the other, Lear, omitted the fact that she was fired or released from Peekskill City Court for improper conduct and conveniently left that information off her resume. When faced with that choice, the majority will choose the disgraced Lear and now shamelessly send her back to that very same court of honor. I've been an attorney for 35 years. I've interviewed judicial candidates as well as countless candidates for employment. And I can say that I have never seen a candidate ever ask for the advice of counsel in the interview process before answering a question. Melissa Lear can now claim that distinction, and coming from a candidate for judicial office, it is all the more shocking and sickening. When one candidate, Fernandez, said the biggest issue confronting the court system is ensuring equal access to justice for all, it was uplifting. When the other candidate said the biggest issue in our criminal justice system is profiling by racist cops, it is telling.
That is not what you said.
Well, that's what she said, and that's why I wanted it public.
That is not what you said.
I'm not here to argue with you. I'm making my statement. You can make yours. It was more telling and very well expected from a legal aid attorney who should be a disqualifying candidate. One can only pity a police officer who appears before her, but more importantly, pity our citizens when criminals will truly be running the system when she presides. Her last and most telling comment, her last and most telling comment came when I asked her when she was asked what her worst experience was in her career, and she replied the day she had to tell a client he was going to jail for a long time. When I pursued that answer with a follow-up question such as, well, what crime did he commit? She said none. When I said, what crime was he convicted of? She refused to answer, aided by her allies on the council, accusing me of badgering her or bullying her, and of course, what else would I expect? When I say aided by her allies on the council, I say that because when having a choice between a judicial candidate, Fernandez, with no history of political involvement in this city, the other one, Lear, who donated thousands of dollars over the years, posted campaign signs, and otherwise was politically active for the very majority on this council that will vote on her, this majority will choose the politically active candidate. And if you think there was no quid pro quo political payback for this appointment, then I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. I realize I am not a member of the majority party, and we together have governed virtually without regard to party politics in the 3 years that I have been mayor. We may quibble here and there, but nothing compares to this horrific appointment that will go down as the worst decision and worst appointment that has been made by this majority for no reason other than bare knuckle politics. That is why I'm taking the unusual step of making this very public statement, and I will have these comments posted on the city's website at my page so there is never any misunderstanding as to the magnitude of this decision and the magnitude of this mistake being made here tonight. Thank you.
I'm trying to say something now as well. I didn't prepare a speech or a writing for this resolution. And I want to say, with respect to Vessi, this isn't really anything towards you or about you or anything like that. So, but I didn't have a speech. I just want to read something. Since everybody at home, I guess, wanted this to be public, I think I can go ahead and be transparent about it. Statement says, my good friend Colin Smith, president of the school board serving his second term, when others took high-paying jobs in government or private law firms in New York City, Colin stayed right here in Peekskill to serve our community. Although he is active in one political party, and I am not welcome there for political reasons, he has held true to his principles and never makes it personal or nasty. Peekskill, homegrown, raised and educated, he has practiced law honorably and ethically and has become a true friend. There is a vacancy in the position There is a vacancy in the position of Associate City Court Judge, and based on the applications I have seen come over my desk, none come close to the character, integrity, intellect, broad experience, and other qualifications of Colin Smith, period. That's why I will move his name by resolution to be appointed to the demanding position. He's the right person for that spot at the right time. I urge my common council to support their fellow Democrat, not because he's a Democrat, but because he's the best choice. No, he is a perfect choice. I urge all citizens to contact Drew Claxton, Vivian McKenzie, and Andre Rainey to support this choice. The first one of them to do so will be the deciding vote, as Mr. Smith has my support as well as Councilman Bessie and Torres. We want all their votes. And Torres. We want all their votes to show the community bilateral support in doing the right thing for our city. But who will ensure this appointment? I have a hunch, but urge all citizens to contact them to support Colin Smith for city court. If anyone's going to come up here and say anybody played politics, it's not going to be one or the other side. If he, in this statement, said that he voted and he convinced the other two councilmen, Torres and Vesey, to support Colin Smith, I supported Colin Smith as well. There would be no need for all of this. But that was a lie, which a lot of it is going on here. I knew Colin personally for years. I worked with Colin. I've seen what he's done, what he's doing, what he's done for this city. And the same thing for Melissa. That's all I have to say.
I move to amend the resolution to insert the name of Colin Smith in place of Lizette Fernandez. Do I have a second?
Second that.
Seconded by Vinnie Vesey. All those in favor? Let's do a roll call vote on the amendment.
Do you have something to say first before
Well,
we move along?
I didn't hear.
I'm sorry.
Is this on the amendment?
No.
Well, you can talk, but let's do the vote on this since we have a second. We'll do a roll call vote. This is to amend the resolution to insert Colin Smith's name in place of Lizette Fernandez.
Unfortunately, Colin withdrew his name because of all the politicization of this. Unfortunately.
Well, you can vote no if you want to, but I just thought I heard somebody say, I thought I heard Councilman Rainey say something. So let's see if he really means what he says.
Oh,
let's do a roll call vote on that.
Unbelievable.
Having a roll call vote on the amendment, not on the actual amendment, but to amend it. To amend.
Deputy Mayor Claxton?
What?
Yes or no?
On amending the resolution.
It's a ridiculous amendment. He has withdrawn his name and has not even come in for the interview at this point, so no.
So you won't put it up for a vote. Okay. Next.
Councilman McKenzie? No. Councilman Rainey?
No.
Councilman Talbot?
No, for the same reasons that Drew stated.
Councilman Torres? Yes. Councilman Bessie?
Yes.
Mayor Catalina?
Yes. Okay. With funds like Councilman Rainey saying what you just said and then making that vote, you should think about what you say before you say it. You just got called out.
Trust me.
That's being called.
Trust me.
Okay.
Well,
Live and learn.
Mayor,
Very well
Colin, you know that Colin withdrew his.
You don't know how he'll react when his city calls upon him to serve, he will serve. And I just heard somebody said, I agree with everything in that, I will support him, I would support him. And the opportunity came, this councilman is full of talk. When the time came, the action came, and with the vote speaks louder than the talk.
So, wait. So are you saying that I didn't support? What are you saying?
What? The vote trumps the rhetoric.
Let's talk.
Your vote trumps the rhetoric.
Let's talk. Who? So can we state who did support it? Since my vote caused it.
You wanted Colin Smith. You said I would support Colin Smith. I gave you the opportunity. I just gave you that opportunity, and you voted no.
No, you tried to entrap him in something.
I didn't try to
Yes, we did, and that's exactly.
You're
what
right.
we're
I tried
talking
to
about.
entrap him
That's
with his
exactly
own
what we're
words.
talking about. All of this stuff is getting way taken out of proportion. It's
Right.
a whole bunch of lying, a bunch of manipulation, and using people against their own people for what reasons?
Using
We're
people
not
against
getting
their
at
own
it.
people, whatever that means. I entrapped you
Some
with your own
understand.
words. You said he was your guy. You would vote for him, and you were given the opportunity,
And I
you
did.
not.
Yeah, apparently.
I did.
Your
You
vote
did not.
trumps your rhetoric. Councilman, be careful.
He would have said.
vote for him.
He knows that.
He wrote this and he put these
two in the middle of it, and then
I
when it
think what
came up for a
happened